Hi, everyone. Hello. Happy hump day. It's Cooper. I am so happy to connect with you all. It feels like it's been a hot second, although I'm sure it probably hasn't been that long. And I'm actually streaming in like a bazillion different places. So if I look like I'm looking all over the place, it's just because I'm in a few different places. Make sure as you are tuning in, you guys say, hey, I would love to connect with you. And especially on a topic that I know so many of you want to become better at. I know, I know that there's so many people in my audience that in multiple platforms that are so excited about what they have, their products, their services, their opportunities. I know you're so excited about what you bring to the table and what we're going to talk about now and definitely in the near future as well, as I'm really honing in on a lot of these conversations around sales, advanced sales strategies, navigating successful sales conversations, and even a little bit different language than the type of selling models that I myself have been accustomed to in the past. Some of them are no longer relevant, and they're not working as well as they used to. So, a lot of what I hope to bring to you guys is some different perspective, different thoughts, different strategies going in and around the businesses that I know deep down you desire more than what you have now. If that is true, definitely drop some flame emojis in the comments. What is up, Maria? Hello, Petra. So good to see you guys. Hi, Maureen. Hi, Tracy. Um, Again, I'm streaming on multiple platforms. So if I'm looking all over the place, it's because we're on a few different devices. And some of you guys might be hearing this on a podcast too, because if you're like me, actually some of y'all may not know me. Let me take a quick moment to introduce myself. My name is Jen Cooper. It's so wonderful to have this time with you. I'm a mom to 4 kids under the age of 8. And what that means is that my hands are full all the time. Like literally, my hands are full all the time. So you might be catching this on a podcast. Do I have anybody here that tunes into my podcast? Crave the clothes. Drop a hashtag crave the clothes in the comments if you guys are subscribed, because I know that there's some people out there that prefer to pop in a little earbud as you're folding your laundry or you're driving like to drop off the kids wherever they got to go, or maybe you're on a road trip during your commute, and it's easier for you to do that. I want to be able to help you. I want to be able to help it serve you any way that I can. And again, for those of you that are just tuning in, today's conversation is about some things that when I look back in hindsight, I'm talking back in like 2005, like 2005 is when I started, which it took me a long time to get in my foot in the door in pharmaceutical sales. And then I went on and up into medical device sales. So I've had quite a bit of experience in sales, for the last, 20 years, even before my medical days. I was doing sales. I just wasn't getting paid a whole lot for it. But what does that tell us? Usually, when you start a sales job, don't expect to be making a whole lot when you don't really know what it is you're doing yet. Does that make sense, friends? You see, in my profession now, I am in the wonderful world of network marketing, direct sales, multi level marketing, whatever you want to call it. It is literally the greatest option I have found to date on planet Earth, that allows you that uncapped potential to earn residuals and really create that time freedom that I know a lot of people seek. Now, does everybody want to stay home and do this full time, like, and stay home with their kids like I do? Absolutely not. But I do know that I got some really smart friends out there and they like getting themselves some multiple streams of income. Okay. You don't have to do something like network marketing to get full streams of income while you are working your job that hopefully you enjoy during the day as well. It's about creating leverage, friends. Can you please drop hashtag leverage in the comments? It's about developing leverage. It's about developing passive income streams. And what that means is money that accumulates, deposits in your bank account when you are, you did the job once, but now you're on maintenance mode. You're not showing up to do that job again, that same job again. That's what we're talking about when we talk passive income. Linear income is more like clocking in for a shift at work, or something along those lines. That's more linear. You do your work and then you receive a paycheck. We call that W-2. All types of income is good income to me. I just want to help you guys. A lot of you guys in my audience are trying to develop your small businesses, to grow your network marketing businesses. Maybe you're branching out into some other passion projects. In fact, whatever your area is of what your passions are and what you're building, I don't like to use the word side hustle, friends, because if you treat it like a side hustle, you're not ever going to get compensated very much for that. So I should say an additional hustle. What sector of additional hustle are you creating additional streams of income in? Drop it in the comments. And so back when I first got started in, I would say my first quote unquote real sales job, like the one that came with like the benefits and, all the potential to earn a lot of income, that was in the medical field. And I was so excited to get a job in medical sales, largely because I didn't honestly know what else I was going to do with my life. I was the head tumbling coach at an all-star cheerleading gym in Rochester, New York. I also worked as a barista at Starbucks. And so I know that I had a third job on top of that. And I was also working for State Farm Insurance. Did you guys know that? Did you know that I actually had a very, very entry-level sales job in State Farm Insurance? And I have to tell you, friends, insurance sales was simply not for me. But I was so excited at the idea of earning a substantial income by providing really good service to people and helping them learn about what it is I had that perhaps could solve a problem or a need that they had. I just thought that was the coolest thing ever because I love people. And I thought, well, gosh, if I love people, why can't I learn to be really good in a certain sector and and build some sales? Like to me, I was like, that sounds like a dream. So in any event, I'd actually love to ask you guys, what was your first sales job? What was your first sales job you ever had? And let's be very clear. You can love what you have. You can shout it from the rooftops. You can be all over the place marketing your stuff. But if you can't have successful sales conversations, and I'm not talking like check the link in my bio, click there. That's not, guys. No. I'm talking about successful sales conversations, being able to connect with people, communicate with them, understand and learn and uncover what it is they need help with, right? Not just solving a problem, but actually finding additional problems. The only way you can do that is if you get really good at having sales conversations. And so that is why I'm here. I was so bad back in 2005 that it was do or die. I literally got to a point when I finally was given a shot in medical sales. And let me tell you something, friends, it was not easy. Like y'all think that it's really hard. Like when you get rejected or like, somebody tells you that your product is dumb. I'm telling you right now, getting through the interview process for multiple medical companies. I'm talking like 6 to 10 interviews starting on the phone, 6 to 10 interviews per company making it all the way to the end, like all the way to the end, and then getting told no, that they were moving forward with someone better, someone that had more experience, someone that was more skilled. And I thought to myself, well, how am I ever going to get more skilled if nobody gives me a chance? Like I was to the point where I was like, oh my gosh, why do I keep, this is like self-inflicted torture that going through, guys, I went through probably, remember I said like something like 6 to 10, interviews per company just to be told no. And those interview process, they are not kind. They are not nice. You are being tested. You are being put through the ringer. They want to see how emotionally intelligent you are, how well you articulate your words under pressure. They want to test you on the spot with things that they know you have no idea yet because you have not been trained, right? So it was grueling interviews, 6 to 10 of them every single time. And I interviewed with about 7 companies, 7, all to be told no. So get this, it was pretty awful. I know some of y'all are like, why would you even like put yourself through that? Guys, I was a dumb kid. I had no idea what else I was going to do with my life. Have you ever put your hand up if you've ever been in a position in your life where you literally didn't know what else you were going to do? You're like, I literally have no idea what I want to do with my life. Maybe that was like your mid-20s. Maybe some of y'all, it's like your mid-40s. You're like, oh my gosh, I've been in my job 20 years and I'm miserable every day. I don't know what I want to do with my life when I grow up. Maybe you're 50 and that's happening. But listen, I would love to share with you, as I was looking back in hindsight today, I like to do that every now and then because I never like to forget where I came from. And a lot of you guys know that, I did multiple 6 figures. Oh my God, millions and millions and millions in lifetime earnings in my medical sales career from start to finish. And then when I decided to stay home with my boys because I earned the option, guys, I earned a lot of money in the medical field so that I'm one of those people that doesn't like to have to do anything because I'm desperate. I like to have options because I have a wee bit of control issues, and I don't like to not feel like I'm in control. Or drop some hearts in the comments if that resonates with you. Are you kind of like one of those control freaks? Like maybe a little bit, like you kind of like to have a feel of what's going on. You don't like to just be like forced into the job that you're in, forced to stay at the home that you're in, forced to give up the car that you love because you can no longer afford it. I don't like to not be able to make choices. And when you have the more choices the more options you have, all that means is you've got more control over your circumstances. And so that is all I've ever been after, is being in charge of my own circumstances. And I see lots of people out there that are really challenged, thinking that they don't have control over their circumstances. You guys are the ones that get me up every day. You guys are the ones that literally drive me to be very successful at what I do so that I know what works and that I can turn around and help you too. That's literally what drives me. So in medical sales, earned 6-figure income, multiple 6-figure income most of the time that I was there. Then I got into the glorious world of network marketing. Took us about 3 years to earn to get to 6 figures annually. And then I learned and I grew and I developed and made the most difficult decision I've ever made in my life was realizing that where I was not the best vessel for more people to achieve more success. And I already shared with you that that's kind of a big motivator of mine. So I started over again at ground zero. I started over at $0 and built back a second network marketing business from scratch. And we hit a six-figure income in about 7 months into my new position. And we've just been on and up ever since. And that was over 2 years ago. So, in any event, I never forget that all of the skills that I got my face kicked in for, that I cried over because I felt dumb, and people in the medical world, like, they made me feel dumb. Well, I now know through personal growth, I know that I only allow myself to be treated the way that I allow myself to be, right? So it really wasn't anybody else's fault that I felt dumb, but I did. Like, they were not kind to me well, a lot of the time, especially in the very beginning when I literally had no idea what I was doing. So here's what I did when have you guys ever felt like just so inferior at something that you really wanted to be good at, but you just, like, you almost couldn't get beyond that barrier? Hands up in the comments if you've ever felt that way, because it was very, very difficult for me. I was not always good in sales. I was, in fact, really bad at sales. Not only could I not sell myself to get that job finally in medical sales, but once I got the job, turns out I was really bad at it. I was really bad at it. Okay. So I'm just coming to you from a place of, I know what it's like to feel like the underdog. I know what it's like to so much have this burning passion and fire inside of you, knowing that you could do more and just not knowing how you were going to do it. That's how I felt in my early days when I finally got my shot in medical sales. By the way, I'm convinced they gave me that job because they felt sorry for me, because I was not going to stop. I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to quit going for more jobs and more positions because I didn't know what else I was going to do. So here's what I did when my numbers were in. And by the way, friends, when I first got my job, they gave me a territory in Buffalo, New York. Do I have anybody from the 716 in here? So I lived there. That's where I went to school, friends. And I lived there for about 10 years. Okay. So when the territory that they gave me, when I finally got my job, it was awful. Like, nobody knew anything about the territory. It was dead space. It was white noise. No, that what that means in medical or in sales terms is that nobody really knew anything about the physicians, the practices, the data. All the data was wrong. And at the time, I remember feeling like, and tell me if you've ever felt like this before, I remember feeling like, oh my God, all of the other trainees that I trained with are so lucky because the territories that they took had someone in there before them. They were expanding the sales force, right? So they had someone in the territory before. So they had someone doing introductions for them, walking them into the offices. And I remember thinking, like, they're so lucky. They've got so many resources. They're so fortunate that they've got somebody to, like, hold their hand through this. Meanwhile, I'm going off old data, going to these practices where some of the physicians, like, had died. Like, they were no longer practicing. This is the territory I was given. Have you ever felt that way, friends? Have you ever felt like like almost like the odds were stacked against you? Because I want to share with you something I learned was that all that time that I felt like everybody had it easier and everybody else was lucky, in my mind, I had no idea that it was forcing me to think critically. It was forcing me to develop more skills around figuring shit out, figuring it out. making calls to ask the questions I didn't know the answers to, and nobody was there to give them to me. Driving around and collecting data myself so that I could learn what I needed to learn about my responsibility. My territory was my responsibility. I didn't realize that at the time. At the time, I thought, well, they should have given me better tools, or they should have given me better data. And, I just this, da, 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 da. Guys, that was entitled thinking. And I didn't realize that entitled thinking actually would have crippled my sales career instead of lighting its fire. I know it was hard to see at the time, but now that I can look back, they say hindsight's always 2020, right? Hi, Tamira. How are you? Hi, Linda. Nice to see you guys. By the way, friends, if you've got teams and people like power partners, people that you are doing business with that truly want to get better at closing sales and having sales conversations, I want to invite you to tag them or share this broadcast wherever you're catching it from. Share this with them now, because remember, you can love your product all you want, but if you can't sell, if you can't close business, you got no business. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because in the end, results are the only thing that matters. Nobody cares about the excuses. The results are the only thing that matter. So here's what I did back when I was sucking in medical sales, and I was literally, HR sent me an email, human resources, telling me that they were going to put me on a PIP. Does anybody know what a PIP means? PIP? It's basically like HR speak for we're going to fire you, but we have to go through the proper channels so that, you don't sue us. And it's like what we need to do in order to get you out of here. They put me on a performance improvement plan, or a PIP. So basically, friends, it was in that moment, I'll remember I was in my apartment that I could barely afford with my cats that I was like, how am I going to feed them? How am I going to feed myself? I remember thinking, all right, this is it. This is it. No matter what, do or die, sink or swim, come hell or high water, I've got to figure this out. That was my moment. And so here are 3 things that I quit doing in order to start accelerating forward. Now, mind you, I was dead last. Nobody was cheering for me. I was the black sheep of my team. And what I quit doing is what's responsible for about 6 or 7 months later, I became number 1 in my district. I then went on to become number 1 in the region, and then number 1 in the nation for 17 months straight. And then I dropped to like number 2 for another year. But the point being, these things that I quit are what helped accelerate my sales success in that moment. Are you guys ready? Drop a "let's hear it" Coop in the comments. And if you're on a podcast right now, just give me like a virtual fist pump in the air. I want you to feel my energy. All right. So here's the first thing I did. Well, first thing that I quit in order to get moving and start selling, I quit whining about it. Drop it in the comments. I quit whining about it. I quit whining about how bad my territory was, and how all my doctors were dead, and how all the data was wrong, and how nobody wanted to see me. I quit whining about it. I quit whining about how fortunate everybody else was and how lucky they were, but I wasn't. I quit whining, and I started focusing on winning. I didn't know exactly how I was going to do it in that moment, but I focused on winning, and I quit whining. Okay? Nobody cared. And if you're in your business right now and you're thinking, man, nobody gets it, nobody understands my circumstances, here's the deal, friends. I know that your reasons, maybe you could call them your excuses, I know that they're valid. My question for you is, what are you going to do about that anyway? So they're incredibly valid. I get it. But what next? Do you accept that? Or are you going to make a shift? Are you going to take a hard left and start changing your circumstances. See, only you can do that, friends. Only you can do that because nobody else cares. That is the truth. And I mean that with love, but truly think about it. You're so busy with your life, you don't even care about what other people got going on. You don't even care about their challenges and their misfortunes and how they're suffering. Like you have enough going on that literally you are even too busy, right? So you have to remember, I remember being in my apartment thinking nobody cares. It is on me. Success is up to me, no matter what, 100% of the time. Drop that in the comments, friends. And so when I realized that that's all that mattered and that results were the only thing that mattered, even if my reasons that it was taking me a long time to close business, my reasons were valid. I had to go collect all the data myself on foot, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of windshield time, driving all over Western New York. That's how big my territory was. I had to go hunt the data myself because it was not given to me. And guess what? I thought that was my biggest disadvantage back then. And now I realize it was one of my greatest blessings because it forced me to get resourceful. It forced me to realize you don't lack resources, Jen. You lack resourcefulness, but that can change as soon as you do. Make sense? All right, here's the second thing that I quit in order to start accelerating and closing more sales. I quit loser language. Loser language. I don't even need to repeat a lot of the stuff that I just shared that I used to think to myself. And I used to actually say it even out loud to my mom, to my boyfriend, to my best friend. I remember I had loser language and I used words like, I don't even like to say the word out loud. Even though I'm using it as an example, I don't even like to say the words out loud. struggle. That word bus is that saying makes me tweak it makes me like twitch when I hear it, because even though it's meant in jest, it's not funny. It's not funny. It's literally loser language in disguise of humor. It literally is. struggle. I stopped using that word because it's loser language. And get this, did you know that when it comes to positive language and negative language, positive language, right, is what we want to focus on most of the time. And I'll tell you why. Negative language, even negative thoughts, have a tenfold power over you than just regular positive thoughts. So it's like not only is loser language bad, but when you say it, it has 10 times more power over you at your core, in your brains, when you're not even in your subconscious, when you're not even paying attention. Your loser language, my loser language, was literally shaping my identity as someone that wouldn't be able to close sales, as somebody that was always going to be behind the pack, as someone that didn't have people cheering for them and that wasn't worthy of success. Literally, I stopped my loser language. I also stopped using, you can imagine, this word is what I felt when I had to do so much more work than my coworkers. Okay, starts with an O, rhymes with elmed. And a lot of people use this word often. Again, it makes me twitch. Why? Because I already know that it has 10 times more power over us than positive language and positive thoughts. So I made a commitment back in the day to quit using loser language because I knew that even if I didn't know how I was going to get sales done, even if I didn't know how I was going to figure it all out, the loser language had to go because the loser language was shaping an identity of someone that was not successful, of someone that was always going to have a hard time getting the job done. And I refused to own it. I refused for that to be my chosen identity. So, in order to shape and mold a new identity, I had to quit my loser language. Drop that in the comments if you haven't yet. Quit your loser language. All right, the third thing that I did, this is a big one. Are you ready? This is a huge one, especially if you are in the business of direct sales or network marketing. This is what I quit doing back in my medical days. And I see people doing it all the time in network marketing. And it is why they are having a hard time achieving more success and closing more sales. You ready? This is what I quit doing. I quit taking shortcuts. Drop that in the comments. I quit taking shortcuts, and I quit just doing only what was asked of me. Why? Because I learned back then the most successful people always did one more rep than the rest. It's just like at the gym. It's like when you go, you know how like if you're running on the treadmill and literally when you start to approach the end, and I hate running on the treadmill. Does anybody like running? Yes or no? I absolutely cannot stand running. But I remember I'd look at that counter, and as it got close to the end, I would think to myself, and quite often I would jump off like a minute and a half early. What was I doing? A minute and a half early. And even if it was a 30-minute run, not a big deal, right? Not a big deal. A normal person would say that's not a big deal. But if I was reforming the identity of a winner, winners always go one more. Winners quit looking for shortcuts. Here's what I mean in network marketing: posting and praying. Oh, nobody's interested in my stuff. Nobody's reaching out to me. Yeah, duh. They're not likely to. And if that is how you are building your business, you are going to not make very much money. I'm telling you right now, in network marketing, you got to be focused both on inbound and outbound leads as well. In network marketing, I see a lot of trends this past year, especially Reels picking up a lot of traction, short form video. I've noticed that is where a lot of people are spending their time, and it's becoming the new post and pray. It's becoming the new post and pray, short form video. When at the end of the day, conversations, creating the content that creates conversations, and then going and having those conversations, eventually inviting people to take a look at what it is you do without having any emotional attachment to it. Friends, we cannot take shortcuts. If you take shortcuts, don't expect a big bank account, truly. In fact, there's a lot of people that I know want to be part of my coaching programs, or they want to get a mentor, they want to be in a mastermind, and they think I can't do it, I can't afford it. I'm just gonna tune into this for now, or do a little bit of that for now, do it on my own for now. And I'm like, man, don't you realize that that's almost a way of taking shortcuts? Because if you don't make investments in yourself, you can't expect investments and deposits coming in your bank account. I literally business over the entire network marketing profession right now is down about 20%. It's just as a reflection of global circumstances. By the way, if you're freaking out about your business and you're jumping ship to other companies and oh God, it looks really good over there. Guys, I'm telling you, it's so dumb. I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm saying that's dumb. It's an amateur move. If you ask me, now's not the time, right? Now, granted, I'm sure some of you may have your reasons. I had to have my reasons, but you know what? I made my move when I was doing really well. I made my move when I wasn't doing bad. I was not having a hard time. I just knew that morally and ethically, I cared more about helping positioning more people to achieve more success. And that simply was not going to happen where I was. And again, I could have I could have continued to earn my 6-figure income, drive my nice car, and go on the annual luxury trips with leadership in the whole company. But that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. Sorry, I just got a phone call. But in any event, so back in the day, I quit. Oh no. Am I losing you guys on Instagram? Who's watching me on Instagram right now? I feel like I'm losing connection. I'm like all over the place right now. But so I quit taking shortcuts, friends. I quit taking shortcuts and doing just what was asked of me. You know what I did? Everything that the metrics that I was given in medical sales, I 10x'd my efforts. I did twice as much of the metrics that they told me that was asked of me, that was required of me. I literally doubled my activity because I knew either way I was going to get canned. Right? I was going to get canned either way. So I 10x my activity. And here's another thing I did. I stopped taking shortcuts. I stopped not going that extra rep, that extra step. So back on the treadmill analogy, if it was coming up on 30 minutes, I would go 31 minutes. Okay. I would do just a bit more, maybe like a final sprint across the finish line. I would go just a bit more. Why? To prove to myself that I'm a one more kind of person so that I deserve the results. Ed Milet talks about this all the time. This is a concept that I embodied back when I was sucking in sales. I was like, okay, something's got to change. So I started putting in more effort, more energy, and I stopped cutting corners. Here was what when I think about the things I used to do, I wanted to be unforgettable. Drop it in the comments. Become unforgettable in your sector. I knew that I wanted my physicians, the medical personnel, even the patients. I wanted everyone to remember that short little bubbly prenate girl. Okay, that was the stuff that I sold at that time. I wanted everyone to remember who I am or who I was. I used to put on costumes, literally costumes. I would wear costumes into the OBGYN offices while I would sample my product just to create conversations, create the content that creates the conversations. I literally would walk in there in a Superwoman outfit. I kid you not, as I'm putting stuff up on the shelf, doctors laughing like, oh, how are you today? I'm like, I'm great. How are you? Just acting like it was normal, acting like it was fine. And literally that's how I got more conversations. And that's how I became unforgettable. I used to take my sample boxes and I used to pull the samples out and put candy, the favorite candy of the office. I would put it in that box and put them all over the place. So every time somebody was taking a piece of candy, they were taking it out of my box, my branded box. I wanted to become unforgettable. That's how, when you stop taking shortcuts and you go all in, and not just what you think you should do, but what is required of you to get the result that you want. You do it until you do the activity until. And by the way, friends, just so you all know, this is just on the short list of things that I cover in my coaching series. I've actually revamped my entire coaching program. For those of you that are not yet clients of mine, we are building back from scratch an entirely new model where it's going to encompass all the things that I've learned since 2018 when I started my sales coaching business. It wasn't something that I set out to do. It was something that was a calling and it was compelling for me to do. I realized all my network marketing friends are great people. They got great products all over the profession. They just really were challenged in regards to sales. So sales is just a tiny piece, but I should say a big piece of what we focus on. But if you want more information or to eventually set up a call with me, drop closing with Coop in the comments and we can connect privately privately. If you're catching this on a podcast, you can always message me privately as well that you caught this on a podcast and that you wanted to know what Closing with Coop is all about. It's my best work yet. It's what I'm most excited about. I don't care if I have one person, 10 people, 100 people, 500 people. I don't even care. It's gonna be my best work over so many years. The things that are tested and true that I know are proven to win, and roping while weaving in new modern strategies and sales techniques that are designed for an entirely different generation now, selling to an entirely different generation now versus way back when I started my sales career. But in any event, you guys, oh my gosh, this is 40 minutes long. Oh, it's so long. The last thing I started telling myself, friends, was to quit dicking around. I quit dicking around. So all in all, I quit whining about it, friends. I quit my loser language. I quit taking shortcuts or doing just what was asked of me. And I quit dicking around and got on a mission uphill. You see, you can't have the downhill results without the uphill effort and the uphill push. If you're going to make it up that hill, it requires you to be on a mission. It requires you to cut dead weight. It requires you to take your brains and your mind and your heart on a whole other level of you that you don't even know exists in order to taste your true potential that I know you want at the end of the day. So quit dicking around. Get on your mission. Start pushing that boulder uphill. And if you need some help, come find me. Let's connect. Tell me more of what's going to happen next for you. And who knows? Maybe we'll end up working together. All right, my friends. I love you guys. Let me know if this was helpful, and I hope you have an amazing day. Mwah. Bye.